We don't do this often. You're crinkling papers in the background. It sounds like... Oh, we'll try again.
Abide, man. Just abide.
3, 2. We don't do this often.
Oh my God. All of this is staying in.
Yes, please.
You'll never know.
You really will never know.
Someday I will listen to this podcast as soon as I can figure out how to work my whatever machine plays this.
I am
couldn't
definitely
even think of anything.
I don't know the machine.
Your phone.
I am definitely going to edit the first part of this segment.
It's not common that we have a guest on, the guest leaves, and then we say we have to talk. But the great Jeff Bridges just left the building.
Mm-hmm.
There is something nourishing about being in that man's presence. He's such a talented guy, but he's also very humble and sweet and wise. And we're just sitting here with him, and I don't know. I feel like I've been healed.
It's like a car wash for the soul or something like that.
I love his vibe. He's got a good vibe.
He's got a very good vibe.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something that happened that is just so dude?
Yeah.
The listeners wouldn't know this, but every one of these seats has a little tape mark for where your belly button is supposed to go so that we line up with these cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And people are reminded of it every time they come in. We are.
Just to make sure that we get good footage of the person, yes.
Yeah, and there's a point about, 30 minutes through this interview where he just, can I take off these headphones? And then he just looks down at the piece of tape and just goes,
takes it off.
Peels it off.
Yeah.
Like, I will not be burdened by this mark that I have to hit. And it was so wonderful.
Why would the dude...
So symbolic.
If symbolic that someone was trying to control him with a little piece of tape.
Yeah.
Like, keep your belly button here. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to let the universe guide me.
Yeah. My belly button mark is where my belly button is.
Yes.
Basically.
That's very wise / stupid.
Yeah.
I loved when he took the headphones off. Mm-hmm. I'm always wondering, now here's where we get into it with Eduardo. Eduardo always says we need to wear these giant cans on our head so that we're reminded of where to put our mouths near the microphone. And part of me thinks, because wouldn't people be more relaxed and look cooler if they didn't have that burden of having these things on their ears? We've had some guests request not to do it, and I think those have turned out fine. Eduardo, why don't you weigh in from your very narrow technological perspective?
Happy to. There are professionals out there who I would trust to not wear headphones because they've been around mics enough times that they know to always be near the mic.
Like DJ Jazzy Jeff or Shabba Shrimp. Yeah.
Exactly. And then there are other people that I think are great storytellers, and they start to tell stories with their hands or their body, and then they start to drift away.
Who was that recently that really sat back in their chair?
I can't recall, but it's been more than a few.
Oh, it was Lean Along Jones.
Season title.
So without the headphones,
I understand.
They don't realize that they're...
So I think the answer here is to improve the technology so that the microphone moves with the person.
Sure.
And the cameras move when the person moves and the lights move. Now, I realize this is a lot of money.
The camera does move.
Then why do we have a belly button mark?
Why do we have a belly button mark? We have a belly button mark because if we move too far, then we're in each other's shots.
That's right.
Why am I explaining this to you?
I love it. I found you years ago.
Oh God! Don't
shrubbery in Glendale, and you're explaining to me. No, I appreciate that. No, I understand that there needs to be a general reference point.
Yeah.
But I do think it's important that people are comfortable. And let's get back to the important thing. 2 points. One, Eduardo has failed us. And I think also hamstrung us creatively. And I'll get you, Eduardo, if it's the last thing I do. Two.
Adam's with me on this.
You didn't have a second point. You
I did have a second point.
Get on a rant and you don't even know
Jeff
what you're
Bridges.
complaining about.
No, two is, let's get back to Jeff Bridges.
Can you be more Jeff Bridges? Yeah. Can you try?
Yeah.
You know what? I honestly believe that I should.
Go across the bridges of Jefferson County and be more like Jeff Bridges.
I hope you're happy with yourself.
So far.
And you know what? That's staying in.
That was so...
That's
I stand by that. I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
I want it on my tombstone.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, it'll go on your tombstone, and it'll be soon.
I love him a lot. You know, I'm ordained in the Church of Dude.
Yeah, what's the
Is that
story
true?
here?
Yeah, when I was officiating one of my closest friends' weddings once, and she and I was so nervous because when you get ordained, you've done it. It takes minutes online.
Yeah.
And so I got ordained at 4 different online churches, and one was the Church of Dude. Just
Why 4?
because I got nervous, I wasn't ordained enough.
Oh my God,
it's like
that's
it's good to
very
have different.
undude.
It's like it's good to have different passports. You never know what's going to come down.
It is.
Yes.
And you didn't want to bring that up while he was here.
I was nervous around him. He made me nervous. There are very few people who've been here who've made me nervous, and Jeff Bridges.
He's so chill.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say
I love
this.
him
Ultimate
so
chill
much.
chum.
I do, and I'm saying this not as a joke or anything. At my stage in my life, my career, I do think it should be a mission of mine to become. I'm being completely honest. More like Jeff Bridges. I don't want to.
What else is the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
And he's just. And it'd be one thing if you could say, yeah, but he's a great example because his body of work is fantastic, and I think he's lived this
and he's
ethos.
authentic. It doesn't seem
He's
to be
authentic.
affecting it. Did
Right.
you notice too? After we finished, he got up and he just did this.
Now, can I just say something? I do that. I used to do that around the interns, and I was spoken to.
It was.
I was spoken to.
It looked so much cooler when he did it.
I'm not denying that. It's going on my tombstone.
And this is a podcast. You should explain what you did.
Yeah.
I think the audience gets it.
Okay.
And you need to not do that around interns.
I used to do it and say, "It's old lighthouse crotch."
And not the shape, it's
Jeff-
the illumination.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges stood up and he stuck his tummy out and sort of did like a rotation.
Like he's
just
hula hooping without a hula hoop.
Hula hooping
in
without a
slow
hula hoop
motion.
is fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that that's something I would never do. I don't have that. He's just so comfortable with himself. Yes.
He's got like a stoner's vibe.
He does.
I think,
But-
that's.
so I wonder, I don't know.
We should
Does
have
he
asked.
partake or?
Hey, I have a question. Why don't? Well, I was going to say we become stoners now, but Sona is a stoner.
Yeah.
But like you and I,
Yeah.
Matt, we have a similar thing, I think, which is we're probably worriers. We prepare
Wound up.
a little wound tightly. And I was thinking the other day, like at this point, why not just? I don't know. Just
I know,
become
when
a
he said
stoner.
That part about just practice, about, what you said really resonated with me when you're talking to that person who is ill and that how you lose it because the cable goes wrong. What else is the point?
Well, you know what it is? I think we drift. There's constant drift. You're never in a fixed place. So I saw this in New York on 9/11. After 9/11, 9/12, 9/13, I mean, everywhere you went, people were asking each other, how are you? You'd go to a restaurant. The waitress would come over. The waitress would sit with us. We'd talk. How are you? Where do you live? How are you getting to work? Is everyone you know okay? It was just incredible. And then I remembered thinking, I think it lasted like 3.5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah,
people
incredible.
went back to being, we're New Yorkers. And this is nothing about New York. It's the same. It would be the same thing in Boston. It would be the same thing in Los Angeles, San Francisco. We're human beings. So hit us over the head really hard with a 2x4. And we have this incredible wisdom and generosity of spirit. And then wait 20 minutes. And it's like, hey, I said I want chiclets. That's the kind of gum. Give me my chiclets.
Yeah. Are chiclets gum? Wow. I had no idea.
Did you know about chiclets? I don't know if something I'm saying is...
Can you just be more like Jeff Bridges, please? Okay, he would not do what you
try it.
just did.
Try it.
You were like, oh, this moment in history, and then you immediately do something very un-JB.
Yeah.
And it's not, you have a long way to go.
Go
You know
over
what?
a Jeff Bridge
You
too
have
far.
You have to stop
I'm going to
making
need 3
bridge
tombstones.
jokes.
How many tombstones can one man
Oh,
have?
my
Man,
God.
you cannot have too many too quickly. I'll put you that.
No, you know what? You two have a lot of work to do. I'm cool.
You know what I would
feel
say?
like I'm there,
You
man.
are. You are.
Yeah,
kinda.
he wouldn't have thrown out, even if he did say chiclets, he'd just say it.
Yeah.
And then if you picked up on it, you picked up on it. But I'm like, well, do you know what that is? Is that still a gum? I don't want to look like I'm too out of touch. I should have just said it.
But Sona, also, you are the most Jeff Bridges of us all. But if you were at true peak Jeff Bridges, you wouldn't have had a problem with that joke I made. He would have been like, all right, man. He wouldn't have laughed.
Yeah, he wouldn't have laughed.
But he would have appreciated
I don't think anyone would have laughed.
Because I think he's heard a lot of bridge jokes.
I think a hyena would have not, a hyena that was laughing there would have been a cessation of laughter.
Start crying.
If there was a hyena here going, Bridges too far,
he would have just turned into a coyote.
Stone cold silence.
Well,
and then the minute I come back in the room,
I don't like the tone of this. It's time to wrap.
All right. Well, anyway, Jeff Bridges, you are a very special, cool spirit, and we're indebted to you. And let's all try to be more dudeler as we move forward on this podcast.
True.